Pink Floyd were inside Abbey Road Studios putting the final vocals onto a song about their lost founder. A stranger sat quietly in the corner eating candies from a plastic bag. Nobody knew who he was. It took 45 minutes before anyone realized the stranger was the exact person the song was about. Syd Barrett co-founded Pink Floyd in 1965. He wrote almost all the songs on their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, released in 1967. He gave the band their sound, their identity, and their name. Then his mind started to fall apart. Heavy LSD use triggered a severe mental breakdown. His behavior on stage became completely unpredictable. Some nights he would stop playing mid-song and just stand there. Other nights he would detune his guitar string by string during a performance and never retune it. By 1968, the band quietly brought in David Gilmour as a second guitarist. Then they drove to a show one day, looked at each other, and simply did not pick Syd up. They never told him directly that he was out. They just stopped collecting him. For 7 years, Barrett disappeared completely. No contact. No music. No appearances. The band felt enormous guilt. Roger Waters said in 1975 that the band could never have started without Syd, because he was writing everything. But it also could never have continued with him. Both things were true at the same time, and that contradiction never left any of them. They produced both of Barrett's solo albums, The Madcap Laughs and Barrett, as a way of trying to help him. Keyboardist Richard Wright later described those sessions as some of the most difficult experiences of his life. He said you could forget about getting a good guitar sound. You were just trying to get Syd to sing it all. By 1975, Pink Floyd were the biggest band in the world. Dark Side of the Moon had been on the Billboard charts for 741 weeks, a record that stood for decades. Their new album, Wish You Were Here, was built entirely around Syd Barrett, a tribute to a man who had become more myth than person in their minds. The centerpiece was a 9-part composition called Shine on You Crazy Diamond, bookending the album on both sides. David Gilmour described a 4-note guitar figure he played during rehearsals that triggered something in Roger Waters, and within hours Waters had begun writing the most emotional lyrics of his career. The song was almost entirely finished when something impossible happened. June 5, 1975. Abbey Road Studios. The band were putting the final mix together for Shine on You Crazy Diamond. Someone noticed a heavy-set pale man in a white shirt sitting quietly in the corner of the studio, eating candies and staring at nothing. He had a completely shaved head. No eyebrows. Slightly overweight. Nobody recognized him. The band assumed he was part of the crew. He sat there for 45 minutes. Then David Gilmour looked more carefully and realized the stranger was Syd Barrett. He had not seen any of them in 7 years. He had arrived at Abbey Road on the exact day, at the exact hour, that Pink Floyd were finishing the song they had written entirely about him. Nobody had told him they were recording. Nobody knew he was coming. He had simply appeared. Roger Waters broke down in tears immediately. Art director Storm Thorgerson said 2 or 3 people cried. Barrett sat with them and talked for a while, but as Thorgerson described it, he was not really there. When Waters played him the finished mix of Shine on You Crazy Diamond, Barrett listened and said, "Sounds a bit old." Then he quietly slipped away. That same day was David Gilmour's wedding day. Barrett wandered into the reception, stayed briefly, then disappeared without telling anyone he was leaving, exactly as he had arrived. Roger Waters bumped into him years later in a department store. Barrett saw him coming and scuttled away without speaking. That was the last contact any member of Pink Floyd ever had with Syd Barrett. He died in 2006 at the age of 60, living alone in Cambridge, spending his final years painting and gardening. David Gilmour made sure every Pink Floyd royalty owed to Barrett reached him until the day he died. Shine on You Crazy Diamond is 26 minutes long. It was written by 3 men for a 4th man who walked into the room while they were finishing it, said it sounded a bit old, and then walked back out into the world they would never find him in again.